We're going nice and really exotic today in the backyard. Today I wanted to talk about a little controversial of a topic, and that is homage watches or fakes. I think that's the ultimate question, and we're gonna dive into that today. But I also wanna show you this. I learned that by using a Scotch Brite pad or the back of a sponge in my instance, you can do satin brushing and brush things. And so this is the stock Invicta Pro Diver bracelet, and I went ahead and I brushed the polished center links to achieve a brushed bracelet, because that's what comes on in this instance, the 5-digit sub, the 16610, I believe is what this one would be based off of. And is this watch a fake, or is this just an homage? I have my thoughts, and we're gonna go over my thoughts on what I think this watch is, if I think this is an homage or a fake. I went ahead and I put a poll on my Instagram with this photo, asking if my followers think this is an homage or a fake. The majority of the votes were leaning towards homage. But if I'm being completely honest, in my opinion, I think that this is fake. I'm gonna get in a little bit more to the reasons of why I think that it is a fake and not an homage, but I'm curious to know what you think. Is this an homage? In particular, is the Invicta Pro Diver, is it an homage or is it a fake? Go ahead and leave your comments below before I get into it. All right, it's story time. The year is 2018. Caden is 18 years old. And I don't remember exactly how, but something sparked my curiosity, and I started Googling and I started searching and watching videos on watches, and in particular luxury watches such as Rolex, AP, Patek Philippe. In that searching, I learned that most Rolexes were actually mechanical watches, and they were usually automatic. That led to a Google search to look what an automatic watch is. And as most of you who are watching probably know, the same likely happened to you. You do a deep dive on what an automatic watch is, why watches are automatic, kind of the history of horology really summed up and really fast. And if you're anything like me, it intrigues you so much. So you hop up on YouTube and you search best automatic watches for X amount of money. In my instance, back then in 2018, I searched best automatic watch for $100. This is one of the first results that I ever came across, was the Invicta Pro Diver. I think that I really liked this watch in particular because of how knockoff it is of a Rolex Submariner. Fun fact, the Rolex Submariner was my first love in the watch world. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's my brother. He just motor swapped his car and it's kind of loud. But the Rolex Submariner was my first love, and when I stumbled across this for $89 or $90 on Amazon, and it basically looking exactly like the Submariner, I fell in love and I ordered it right away, because I'm like, I want something mechanical, I want something automatic, and this looks just like a Submariner, and so I bought it. So this was my first automatic watch. This is now, I think, 6 years old or so. It's got a nice big scratch in the crystal. I wore it for a day a few days ago, and I'm actually kind of surprised, I'm not gonna lie. On the inside of this watch is the Seiko made NH35 movement, and for me this was keeping 2 seconds a day of time. That's actually, like, I was kind of blown away. I think this thing is only rated for -40 +35, something like that. And to see that after 6 years, this watch is still running at about +2 on the wrist a day, kind of nuts. My Omega that I'm wearing loosely and weird on this wrist, oh, I'm wearing it because I wanted to show you. I did some satin brushing on this Artem NATO strap because the clasp comes polished, and I'm not a polish guy. And so I applied my newly learned method to the NATO strap. How cool does that look? I love brushing. But anyway, this watch, my Omega Seamaster, keeps time at about, on average, 1.75-ish seconds a day over a month. And it still kind of blows me away that this watch that is now 6 years old and the crown is way too screwed in keeps such good time. It's just an NH35, so there's nothing too fancy about it. It's got the smallest power reserve. The date kicks over at about 11:45 instead of 12. And in every other regard, to me, it's just a fake Submariner. I'm very curious to know your thoughts on homages. I wanted to make this video mostly just to put my thoughts out there on why I think that this watch is fake. When you look at this watch from afar, you don't know if it's a fake, if it's a real, if it's even a Submariner. All you know is that it looks identical to a Rolex Submariner. The only difference being the seconds hand is different, the indices are smaller, the font for the date is not right, and on the case side it has a big Invicta engraving. So apart from branding, this watch is identical in design to a Rolex Submariner. And for me, that's where I kind of draw the line between homage and fake. If maybe it had different hands, maybe different indices, or something that doesn't make it look like a fake, I think that is when I would classify it as an homage rather than a fake. My example being the Tudor Black Bay Pro. I have the Tudor Black Bay Pro on a bracelet, and it is very much an homage to the Rolex 1655. The indices are different, the hands are different, it doesn't have a cyclops, it doesn't have crown guards. When you look at it, you can see that it definitely draws inspiration from the 1655. However, it does not copy or mimic or want to be the 1655. This copies, mimics, wants to be the Rolex, in this instance 16610 Submariner. Rant aside, I do honestly want to praise this watch. I do still have like a little bit of love for it, being that it was my first mechanical watch. This is what caused this whole problem of why I'm talking to a camera right now about watches. All because of this thing. It really is a good watch, tied to some memories, still running great after 6 years. And that to me is what I love about watches. Don't buy a watch, don't wear a watch because some person on the internet is saying their thoughts on the watch. Just go buy the fucking watch. Just go wear the fucking watch. Watches are not something that I think should be taken so seriously. I understand why they are, as they have quite an expense tied to them in most instances, but not all instances require you to spend a lot of money to get a good watch. And even though this thing is a fake, in my opinion, it is still a good watch. I'm very curious to know your thoughts on homage watches. What do you think this is? Is this an homage? Is this a fake? What is it? Put your comments down below, I'm curious. If you stuck all the way through this video, shout out to you. I'm not sure what you have going on in your life if you have enough time to watch me talk about this little watch for a while, but I appreciate it. That's all I got for you guys today, so goodbye.